How's it going, everybody? We're back again in beautiful Kentucky. Well, maybe it's not so beautiful. Right now, it is really bad. The weather's been pretty crappy, and this is the first time I've actually been able to get to work on the Jeep in quite some time because of the weather. Now, we are in the middle of the coronavirus scare. It is March 21st, I believe, today. But today, I finally have the time, and I have some decent weather. I am going to go ahead and start to install the body lift and motor mount lift for the Jeep. Now, as you can see here with the Old Man Emu 2.5-inch lift, the tires are pretty close to the fenders. I'm not allowed to or able to flex out very much like I would want to. So what I'm going to do is add that body lift, and it'll give me a little bit more space to be able to flex a little bit more there. Now, the side steps right there are going to have a gap between the body and the side step, and that's okay for now, to be honest with you. I'm not really worried about that. The body lift portion and the motor mount lift is really going to be there so that I can go ahead and start to add the tummy tuck or get that pan that's underneath of the Jeep right there up and out of the way, so I can get more clearance so I can start flexing this sucker out. Okay, so I want to show you guys here what I got. I got this on a deal. I think it was $80 for both the motor mount lift and the body lift. Now, the motor mount lift I have right here, it takes it up 1 inch. These are never been used. You can see here with the bushings in there. These go underneath the motor on both the right and left side. And then the other thing I got was the Daystar body lift right here. Now, this is 1 inch versus some of the others that are 1.25 inches. I really probably would have gone with a different body lift, but for $80 for the pair, I just couldn't pass it up. So these are I'm gonna be installing. These are like for the radiator supports. And all this stuff is brand new. Somebody bought it, decided not to use it, so hey, I made out. So we're gonna get this installed, and here we go. You guys hear me say it all the time. I love this thing. All right, so this is what we're gonna take off right here, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna loosen this so that when we go lifting the body up, it doesn't pull on the fuel neck. And because I may or may not be dropping my fuel tank down to fix the spill issue that some of these 05 and 06 Wranglers have. And we'll get into more of that whenever I can get the tank dropped, and we can go through about what I'm doing there. But taking off the fan shroud for the fan there so I don't break it whenever I go to put the body lift on and the motor mount lift on. So we'll take a bolt out there. There's a lower bolt down here, probably easier to get to from below the vehicle. And then there's two over on this side. One there and one down below. So we'll take those off, loosen this here fan shroud, and all right, you can see here what all we have. We have a bunch of body mounts, some urethane bushings, the motor mount lifts itself. This is actually for the transfer case shifter, adjust the height for that. I may or may not end up using this. This is for whenever you have a body lift and no motor mount lift. I'm gonna do the motor mount lift. Hopefully it'll work out. I may have to go ahead and get the cable shifter. I'm probably not even gonna put this in. And then these are your shims in there for your spacers, for your things. Like I said, these are radiator supports. It even comes with the good old Loctite right here. So you can see here what I've taken out is these here that were in there. Taking them out, and I will put together the Daystar lift pieces. You see this one here needs to come out as well. And this one here, you just pull on it. Eventually it'll pop out just like that. I'll put the taller ones in there in a moment. And then you've got the one, like I said before, up underneath here that we're taking out as well. So now that I have all these, I'm gonna get the Daystar ones built and then put them in. This is what the Daystar one looks like. This is what came out of the middle piece of the bed. Tap it down there, break that apart like so. And you just slide this one right into there. There you go. And then this sits in the place of where this one was. This is the Daystar piece, right, that I was telling you about. It is not fitting in this hole. It's barely there. I mean, it's almost there, but it's just not fitting. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a curved file like this here, and I'm gonna kind of clean out the holes a little bit. And then you're gonna make sure that you spray that with some black primer or paint of some sort, because you're getting raw metal there, and you don't want that to rust in the future.
File like this here. I'm gonna kind of clean out the holes a little bit, and then you're gonna make sure that you spray that with some black primer or paint of some sort, because you're getting raw metal there, and you don't want that to rust in the future.
Okay, I've got it in there. I'm gonna set the body down on it and let the body kind of press it through. But you can see that's a really tight fit right there. The other ones went on fine. You don't have to do this to all of them, but I noticed on this one for sure. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Back in through there, the rear tire. That body bolt back, that body mount right in there. Reach your hand back, pull it out. But you don't want to do that until you have at least that piece put in. Okay, because if it comes down, you don't want that sharp piece to come down on your hand right there. That would not be a good sight. That would be painful. So take the rubber piece off, put this back on there. We're gonna reach back up in here and hopefully get this sucker to fit. Okay, so now that you have the Daystar Bodylift put on the mounts right here, we're gonna put on these body armor steps, sliders here. Moment of truth. Let's test out this measurement here on the side. 23 inches. So exactly an inch there, and 24 inches back there to the bottom of the fender. So exactly an inch all the way around. So looks pretty good. The gap there isn't too bad between the body and the steps. Not too bad at all. It's not really that noticeable. It's just an inch. You know, it's not really that noticeable, but. So don't forget to put your fuel neck back on, and then the fan shroud as well after you do this. Now, I'm gonna do the motor mount lift now. It's a big task, but I'm gonna attempt it. You see it down there. And once you have the engine and transmissions supported there with the jack and the belt housing, you're gonna remove these 4 13mm nuts that are on the transmission mount. You're gonna be lifting the engine and the transmission. You don't want these to be pulling on the skid plate. So remove these 4 nuts here so we can lift everything. So a couple of things that the instructions don't really tell you about. You're gonna wanna remove this air box. It allows you to get to the motor mount on the passenger side a lot easier. So remove that, pop this out, and we can access that. The other thing they didn't really tell you in these JKS motor mount instructions is to do the transmission mount. So those are 2 things that I recommend you guys do. Get the 18mm nut off of the back side of the motor mount. You're gonna use a 15mm ratchet with an extension to take off these nuts here, these bolts here. There's one here on this side, and then you gotta go underneath the vehicle to do the one that's down there. So, but you'll get it. Just take some time and patience. All right, so I got the JKS bracket put on there. You can see the horizontal bolts through there. Now that hole for that nut there, it will line up. It's just a matter of me undoing the other. You see the engine's kind of moving back and forth. I can move the engine over, but I have to undo the other bracket for the engine before I can get it to move over. But that's what it looks like halfway through the install process. Okay, I have to get up underneath the vehicle now to get to these 3 bolts. And what these 3 bolts do is they hold on that engine bracket that's right there. That engine bracket is what holds the motor mount on. So I have to remove those 3 and remove that whole bracket down out of the vehicle. So that's what I'm gonna do now. The rearmost bolt that's next to the catalytic converter for that bracket down there. Just loosen that so that you can lift up this motor mount, and then once you do that, you can actually slide this bolt out front ways like it suggests you to do. So you only need to remove 2 bolts on that bracket, and then you can actually reach up here and get the motor mount out of there, just like this. All right, the motor mounts are installed. One there, and the other one. So you put the stock bolt in the horizontal piece last, just like you take it off first. You got your stock bolt that you put here, and then back here is a nut and bolt that they provide, JKS provides, you can see there. But it went in okay. Had to pull the motor around a little bit to get everything to line up. It's all tight in there. Now I just got to put this back together and start her up. See how it works after that. Okay guys, so there she is, 2005 Rubicon LJ with a 2.5 inch Old Man Emu lift and a 1 inch motor mount lift from JKS and a 1 inch Daystar Bodylift. And that's what it looks like. That's about as high as it's gonna go. It turned out really, really good. I really like the way that it sits, the height of it. Not too high, not too low. Clears the 295/70/17 tires just fine. And 17-inch wheels on this Jeep. Really like the way it turned out. So if you have any questions, make sure you leave a comment down below. Like the video and subscribe. Got a lot more coming on this build. I am going to be doing a tummy tuck underneath the Jeep, which is to get rid of that low-hanging skid plate right there. And I'm going to be doing tinted windows and a couple other features. Front bumper eventually, rhino lining or raptor liner in the interior. But this is how it sits right now. Really like it. This one is Patriot Blue for those who don't know. So I did the clear markers up front. I tinted the side markers here. Added the Harbor Freight 2-inch mounts there with the lights, and then the 14-inch Harbor Freight light up there. Really like the lights, they turned out good. I got the H4 Hella beams with the LED bulb in there as well. So soft top from Best Top. Obviously the body armor side steps on this Jeep. The gap on the side steps isn't real bad with the body lift. There's a little bit of a gap there. Before it was set pretty flush. So there it is. Okay, so not quite done yet. Remember how when we put the tire carrier on the back, I said that once I got my body lift, I might be able to take those brackets off, lower the tire a little bit, and allow these bumpers to make contact with the tire itself. So I'm gonna do that now, see if I can't drop this down and not touch the bumper. We'll see what we do, see what happens. These brackets can be taken off, and this can be bolted right into here now. Now, one of you asked me about why I put this crappy stock piece back on without cleaning it up first. You really can't see it behind the tire. And I'm gonna be replacing this eventually anyway with something, or I may just powder coat it, you know, sand it and powder coat it. So, but let's take these brackets off, lower this stock tire carrier down. So I got it, but I did it kind of at an angle, you can kind of see there. And the reason why is because it was just a little bit too big of a tire to fit without contacting the bumper. So I put the extended bump stop on the bottom and then the short bump stops on the top, the tire bumps. And then I also put a spacer in behind there. and it is sitting at an angle. It's nice and tight still, and it sits lower, which is good. But it fits good, but it's at a little bit of an angle. I can't really tell too much on the video. You can tell in person, but it looks fine.